All right, let's get back into this. California concealed carry rules and regulations. Nobody went to the vending machine and got popcorn, huh? Gunfire rule number 17, always tactically reload, scan and assess. Not just us talking about it. Key topics. Who's eligible, license restrictions, training requirements, fees, name, address change. I think I kind of touched on that with the wife's gun. Frequently asked questions, reciprocity. It's never going to happen. California is a shall issue state, which requires the issuing authority to approve the permit if all state requirements have been met. This was the court case. It's not that old. Prior to, it was not a shall issue state. Once again, the word shall is a legal definition. Will, gonna, have to, shall issue state. So LA County, part of the reason why you guys are in this class, because folks like CRPA fought the lawsuit. LA County was taking over $2,000 for a CCW application.
Jeez.
And how long did it take? Like a year?
Can upwards to 18 months to 2 years before they decided whether they were going to say yes or no.
It's disgraceful.
The key thing is decided whether it was a yes or no. It's an exorbitant fee. Price most people out of it. Exorbitant time. So now, after this court case, they have 30 days. And you have to stay within a reasonable price range now. It's no longer $2,000. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 or less that the court decided was reasonable, depending on the county that you go to and whatnot. It's considerably cheaper as you go. But the long and the short of it is, now you only got 30 days. The government, whatever entity it is, says, I got 30 days to tell you yes or no. Shall issue. If you meet all the requirements, they must issue. You got it for CRPA or NYSRPA, New York. Rifle and Pistol, something, State Rifle and Pistol Association. Kind of a neighbor to CRPA. You're in California, you got your CCW on you. You stop at the rest stop. Is it legal?
Yes.
Yes.
It is. You'd be surprised how many people go, oh, is it? Yes, it is. What other places have they been able to ban it? Public places, public street, if you are masked or concealed to conceal your identity. Not that long ago, we had COVID. Does that mean that you weren't allowed to carry if you were wearing your COVID mask?
Most likely, yes. I mean, that's
No, because the mask was used for a medical reason. It wasn't meant to conceal your identity.
nice.
However, what it's meant and what you're doing at the same time doesn't really change much, does it? Can't carry at the Cal Expo Center in Sacramento. Anybody know what the Cal Expo Center is? Or what happens at Cal Expo Center?
It's the fair. State fair.
What fair?
California State Fair.
The State Fair. You cannot take your pistol to Cal Expo Center at all, whether the fair's there or not. Any county property in San Francisco County. So there is a difference between city-owned property and county-owned property. I can go to the city park or I can go to the county park. The county says you can't carry your pistol on county property. Best way to avoid that problem? Don't go! Fresno City Hall. It's Fresno. I can kind of understand that. No offense, Fresno. Any place restricted on an individual's carry concealed license. We kind of talked about that the issuing agency has the authority to put restrictions on where you can and can't carry. However, Lassen County, I have yet to see anybody with restrictions. Any place where carrying the firearm is prohibited by federal law, state law, or regulation, even if it was not covered in my presentation. Little disclaimer.
Well, I'm sorry, what does you mean state regulation or just like Costco regulation?
No. Costco is a policy.
Okay.
A regulation goes along the lines of law. So, remember how I said things change rapidly, constantly? Which is the reason why your CRPA, 10 issues a month, keep you up to date. I told you that we just redid our slideshow in April, didn't I? This has changed. It says you cannot carry on real property under the control of the department. Oh wait, my bad. This one's still good. Fish and wildlife. Wildlife viewing areas. How many of you guys see those on the side of the road? How many of those, you've been on a long road trip, pull in, stop, stretch your legs, go look at the cool looking geese out there in the water, or whatever the red-bellied headed pecker bird is, or whatever it is that they got out there. You can't carry your gun outside the car in one of those areas. Except for the designated hunting areas that I always knew it as Fish and Game all my life. Now they call it CDFW or something like that. But Fish and Game actually has designated hunting areas. And that's the exception because you're hunting. Probably not hunting with a slingshot. You're going to go with a shotgun or a firearm of some sort. So that's the exclusion to CDFW's property. How many of you guys got little ones that play sports? Grandkids, kids, go watch little Johnny play baseball? You cannot in California take your CCW to the ballpark. You can't even stand on the sidewalk on the street side of the chain link fence to watch little Johnny play baseball while carrying your gun. Can't carry at a park, athletic area, athletic facility that is open to the public and the street or sidewalk immediately adjacent to. Like I said, you can't stand on the outside of the chain link fence on the sidewalk with your CCW and watch the kids play ball. Welcome to California.
California.
You know, we used to have Arnold Schwarzenegger as a governor, had a bit of an accent, and we chalked it up as an accent whenever he said California. I don't think it was his accent. I think he was really trying to tell us something, and we just weren't really getting it. California. The prohibition shall not apply to the licensee who must walk through such an area or place in order to access their residence or their place of business or their vehicle. They give you an easement if you're directly next to it and you got to get from here to there to do it. I don't know of many people that have to walk through the sports area to get to their house, but question.
On a previous slide mentioned that, county parks you could not carry, but you could carry in city parks. This current slide you were just showing seemed to indicate all parks.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Oh, it's the San
That's-
It's a regulation.
County of San Francisco.
Okay. So that's probably marked also though, right?
Don't go to San
You
Francisco.
kind of
Maybe, unless some snot nosed street gang came by and stole the sign,
I'm
but
just curious, because like you
Could be,
near
may
Golden
not
Gate
be.
Park, you could be,
you just gotta know it.
kind of be
So here's the analogy. How many people have driven their car out of state somewhere? Were you required to know that state's laws
Yes.
when it came to driving a motor vehicle?
Yep.
But you don't live in that state. How do you know what those states' laws are?
Research it.
Ignorance is no excuse for the law. You gotta know what the laws are. Well, the same thing applies. Just because you don't live in San Francisco County doesn't mean that you don't have to know what the law is. As responsible gun owners, we gotta do our own due diligence. With great power comes great responsibility, somebody once said. Quote Spider-Man. Coolest superhero of all time, in my opinion. So you gotta know. You gotta do the work. How many people have ever seen what a vehicle code book looks like? It's like War and Peace. I mean, it is thick. You as a driver are required to know what the law is. How many of you have even seen one before, let alone read one? Yeah, unless you're a cop, you probably won't. But you're still required to know those laws. No different as being a responsible gun owner. The dreaded no Browning high powers allowed sticker. We kind of talked about the vampire rule a little bit. We kind of went over this a little bit. While you're carrying in many locations, there are also numerous locations where you may not carry, permit or no permit. In most cases, no sign will be posted on these locations informing you of that fact. So it's up to you to know the law, both state and federal. There it is, 90 days. You got 90 days for the governing agency to say whether they're going to give you one or not. We talked about this. Your actual carry gun must be listed on your CCW. Make, model, caliber, and serial number. I can't carry my wife's gun unless, let me flip that. My wife cannot carry my gun because it's not the same make, model, and serial number listed on her permit. Being a retired cop, I still wind up getting a little bit of quasi-immortality, and we get to pretty much still carry whatever we want to carry as off-duty law enforcement or retired law enforcement. So we're not actually restricted to this, but we do have to qualify with the weapons we plan on carrying.
Well, with the serial number, when I was writing mine down this morning, it's on the grip, it's on the slide, it's on the barrel. Well, what if you, we talked about it yesterday, if you change the barrel, it doesn't have the serial number on the barrel. What happens if you've done that? You haven't put a threaded barrel on it, you did whatever you did.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this man changed the barrel specifically in his pistol.
Guilty.
Why would somebody remove the stock barrel and replace that barrel? Is it a high-performance barrel?
Yeah.
Because the 12 Village Idiots have no idea if there is such a thing as a high-performance barrel or not. But whatever that district attorney can do to spin the web, to get the argument, to sway the 12 Village Idiots onto their side of the argument, they're gonna do. Here's the thing.
Understood.
How many people have done jury duty? Guys, don't try and get out of jury duty. Actually go. They've got Murder, She Wrote, all these different Law and Order shows that people, it's actually interesting to go do. I refer to them as the 12 Village Idiots. Do you know why? Because those people weren't smart enough to figure out how to get out of going to jury duty. Okay? Or they were actually good Samaritans doing their civic duty to go, which we should all do. If you haven't experienced it, go do it at least once and experience how our law process actually works. It's very informative. You'll walk away from it completely different opinion than when you walked in, I guarantee it. But, squirrel,
Gotcha, understood.
that DA doesn't care if you're guilty or not. They just want the W.
Right, yeah,
And they want the W so they can add those W's up, put it on a resume to get the next job they want to go to. They could care less. They just want the W's.
Okay.
So
Don't do it.
help yourself before you leave the house. Do everything you can do to help yourselves before you even leave the house. Who's eligible? The applicant must not have experienced a loss or theft of multiple firearms due to the applicant's lack of compliance with state, federal, or local laws regarding storing, transporting, or securing their firearms. You left the house. Bad guys decide to clean your house for you. It's not the kind of cleaning that you're hoping. But you got multiple, those two in the nightstand drawers next to the bed. Maybe the one that's next to the bed that's a little longer. Goes, that's multiple. You lost multiple. It could be a reason to say you are not eligible. Not have failed to report the loss of such firearms. Well, some people have firearms that they've acquired along the way of life that probably didn't want really anybody knowing they still got. So you didn't want to report that. But then the cops show up and go, hey, wait a minute, we just recovered this, this, and this with all your other property. But you didn't report it. Yeah, with my gun. Who is eligible? We're still on must not. Be subject to any restraining order, protective order, or other type of court order for the previous 5 years. It's a long time. Have not been committed or incarcerated in any county jail, state prison, probation, parole, post-release community supervision, or mandatory supervision in the previous 5 years. Resulting from a conviction, keyword, you have been convicted of a crime? Convicted? Nope. Convicted is the keyword of an offense in the element of controlled substances described in 110350, 11058, the Health and Safety Code. So before marijuana became legalized, it was illegal. Guess what falls under these sections? If you ever got a ticket for it, it can make you ineligible. Not abusing or addicted to controlled substances described in those same sections with the California Health and Safety Code. Those people who got themselves a medical marijuana card in California are admitting
Does that go back 5 years if you had it and you don't?
no, that's just flat.
You didn't renew it?
There is no 5-year on that one, I don't believe.
Holy
Well, maybe, it might be, I don't see it saying 5 years on that one, but it is on the previous one.
But it says it's abusing or addicted.
Doesn't mean you haven't taken,
Doesn't,
that you've taken it.
Doesn't mean you
abusing
do,
or addicted
but
are pretty specific.
can I formulate the argument?
No, I mean, I get your point, but
I'm, once again, not agreeing with the law, just telling you what the law says.
I know a good.
How
business
ludicrous
cocaine.
the laws of California are.
I get it from him.
Who is eligible? To be considered for California CCW, you must not have been convicted or a contempt of court under the section 166. If you're dumb enough to tell the judge where to get off, you're probably dumb enough not to be wanting them walking around with a gun. I kind of agree with that one a little bit. You got to be able to control yourself. Have not been convicted of a felony of certain types of misdemeanors, including a lifetime prohibition if convicted of domestic violence. So, certain types of misdemeanors. There is such a thing in California, it's called a wobbler. Just depends on the severity of the circumstances as to how the DA wants to try and charge you with it. That's what they're talking about, certain types of misdemeanors. I've not been convicted of a hate crime in the previous 10 years. That's a long time. I'm not advocating hate crimes, but nevertheless, that's a long time for anything. We changed a lot in 10 years,
Yeah, hope so.
especially in that instance, huh?
Yeah.
Have not engaged in an unlawful or reckless use or display or brandishing of a firearm. Have not been charged with any offense that was dismissed in the previous 10 years. Charged. We said there's a difference between charged and convicted.
Yeah.
Have not been charged with any offense, even if it was dismissed in the previous 10 years. Wow. Anybody familiar with the 290 code in California? Has to do with sex crimes. Charged. You didn't do it. Somebody just charged you. Here's the scary one. You had that double bingo on that road trip,
being outside.
and you had to stop on the side of the road. Has anybody not been there?
Yeah.
And Chippy rolls up behind you. And you try to tell the CHP officer that you pay a salary and you're a sovereign citizen, something of that nature. He is going to charge you for urinating in public. Urinating in public falls under the 290 sections. Something as simple as that.
So don't flunk the attitude test.
For 10 years.
That's crazy.
Wow. To be considered for California CCW, the applicant must be 21 years of age. Must reside in the county or work within the county.
No longer.
That's changed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be here. Thanks, CRPA. Must be of good moral character. Must be the recorded owner with the Department of Justice of that pistol, revolver, or other firearm from which the licensee will be issued. So this is where you guys get a little better advantage than the resident. Because as an out-of-state resident, you're not in the California DOJ system with your firearm. So that's null and void for somebody who's out of state, but it is required for somebody who is a resident of the state. There might be an attorney somewhere along the line that goes, hey, that's not fair, and take up a case. If you are, contact me. have completed or an approved firearms training class with a minimum of 16 hours under section 26165. That little section 26165 means it's a law that you have to do Mike and Jeff's 16-hour class. Not be reasonably likely to be a danger to themselves or other in the community. Anybody have another way of saying that?
We talked about it earlier today.
You brought it up. Red flag law.
All right, yeah.
What is a red flag law? When you have been likely a danger to yourself and others in the community. That's where these red flag laws come in. And I can't wait for whatever lawsuit or to be able to come in and go, that is so unconstitutional.
Who gets to
That's
be
a
the
big
moral
domestic
character?
violence.
I went through Alameda County twice for my concealed carry. I had all evidence why it was justified, blah, blah, blah. Both times, even the gal that was running the office, she says, well, I'm not gonna approve you. I go, with all due respect, isn't that the sheriff's? Oh, yes, but it's so bad. But who gets to choose if you're more,
Of good moral character?
who gets to choose?
Because you, on the application, get to list 3 people
Oh, that's right, yeah. Choose wisely.
of your choosing, and they're wanting somebody that you resided with. Hopefully it's the current person you're residing with, not the ex that you were
You got that
residing
right.
with that you put on
Yeah,
that.
right.
But if you were really smart, you're not currently residing because you learned from the first time. Just joking.
Okay.
Is it legal to carry a firearm into a California state park or national park as long as you have a valid CCW?
Yeah.
California State Park, yeah.
State.
National.
Not national.
Yes, you can.
No, you
Federal.
can in national.
Can in
You
federal,
just
not
can't use
state,
your-
that's what I keep.
It says it is legal.
Now you can. Once
You can.
again,
Okay,
things are
Now you-
changing
Okay.
so rapidly
so federal and state.
that
Okay.
things go back and forth. Which is why it's important to get your issues, to stay up on the legislative reports.
But not the restroom in the national park.
You're getting there. You beat me to the punch on that one.
Be outside and then.
Under federal law, you are prohibited from carrying a firearm into a federal building within the national parks. That would include the ranger station, the visitor center,
etc.
and the restrooms are federal buildings, aren't they?
Isn't there a lawsuit that's floating around out there?
There are so many lawsuits out there floating around that, to be honest, that's why
Right, yeah.
you gotta stay up to date with your CRPA stuff to get the most current information. Because the guy at the water cooler at work isn't really as reliable as he'd like you to think that he is, or as up to date on it as he'd like you to think he is. So
You literally got to do it once a week or whatever, check for, the laws updates and everything.
It's crazy.
Yes, no.
Is there a magazine size limitation in the state of California? Yes, this week.
Yeah,
It's up before the Supreme Court right now.
we take it.
This could be overturned, but as of today, and we were trying to remember the lawsuit, it was Duncan versus Bonta on the magazine. And then we had this thing called Freedom Week,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Ninth Circuit, what is his name, St. Benitez,
Yep.
overturned it. And then we all went out, we all went crazy, we all bought magazines. And then a couple weeks later, it went to an en banc panel and they went, nope! And we went, oh.
But even during that Freedom Week, if you have more than 10 round mag today,
long
on
as you
your,
can throw
on
it.
your person, it's still illegal.
You can't, so the way the law was written before was you could not even possess.
Right.
Well, because of Freedom Week, you can possess. You can have those at home in your safe.
Oh.
But you cannot be out walking the streets of California
Okay.
with larger than a 10-round magazine. Not a 15-round with only 10 rounds in it. You can't have larger than a 10-round magazine.
Yeah, you wanna hear something funny? I can go in any store in California and buy a 30-round AR-15 mag, okay? I can buy it. I go home, put it in my rifle, I'm now a felon.
You can still buy that then? Okay. 'Cause I know they
So when
have
it gets loaded-
change them.
You can buy it, you just
When
can't.
it's loaded in a firearm, that's when it becomes a felony. So
Uh-huh.
being in possession of it's fine.
Correct,
But if it's with ammo loaded in the firearm.
correct.
Is it a felony?
Commie bastards.
I don't know if it's actually a
Well, I think it's a felony because you have to have your weapon in compliance to California laws.
It might be.
Yeah.
I
It is.
probably should know the answer to that question.
But I thought with the Freedom Week, if you proved that you bought it during that time, that you're still in compliance, because you got grandfathered in during that week, and that's why everybody went
To possess.
only
Not
to
to carry.
To possess. In California,
You actually use it.
They don't want you-
God, what are you talking about?
the appellate ruling does not lift the stay. Attorney General secured the commencement of the appeal. The stay remains in place until the appellate process is final. This allows California's nearly 20-year-old prohibition of the acquisition
of new.
of new large capacity ammunition magazines to remain in effect pending further appellate.
Right, because it's new, but I think I thought the law was that that week, it was still, your quote-unquote grandfathered in. That's
To possess.
just to possess.
Or prior to 2000.
But you can't walk around the streets of California or the streets of Bakersfield.
Can you go to the gun range with one in California?
I wouldn't risk
wouldn't.
it. I wouldn't risk it.
Because guess who's
They're not large. Stand.
probably wearing a pair of jeans and a t-shirt next to you at the gun range?
There's rumors of that.
California DOJ.
Some fish and game guy off duty, some cop that's off duty. Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to be doing that.
Again, on the range today, if you have a full-size magazine, feel free to utilize it. Just when you come up to Susanville, if you want to qualify with us, more weapons, make sure you have a 10-round magazine when you come up north in California. You just don't want to put yourself in that predicament.
Across the
You and the law.
Is that it?
It's 10 to noon.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
All right, this is gonna be a Chase
I
question.
just did, just kidding.
In 2022, Assembly Bill 2773 was enacted, signed into law.
Uh-huh.
Officer needs to tell you why they pulled you over, unless it's officer safety. Now we get run in the system, your 27, 28, whatever it is, they see a little red flag come up going, concealed carrier. Now for them, they use that as officer safety, they ask you to get out of the vehicle. Now, do they have the right to violate my Fourth Amendment right and go rooting through my car?
No.
No.
Well, what if the door's open and
However-
I get in there first?
However, I can't disarm you.
Right,
I can take that back and run that pistol.
right.
But while that door is open, and I have plain view into the vehicle, and I see something in there that I can articulate as probable cause.
So when I get out of my vehicle, when they ask me to step out, I close it.
And lock it.
Make sure I
Yep.
lock it.
You can absolutely
Don't give consent.
Get out of the car
Honey,
and
lock
lock
the
your
truck when
car.
I get out.
The
I got
plain
you.
view doctrine still stands. If you actually can look in your window,
Right.
tinted or not, if you see something,
Yeah.
you have
Plain
to
sight.
lock your door.
But he still has probable cause.
Or if you put this on your window, you know.
It's the same thing as putting the no guns allowed.
Yeah, that's any place
double bag of
besides-
luggage, you're not on windshield.
Yeah.
They give you a TC
No.
to get your ticket because
The-
there's only one place in California you can have stickers on your window.
So,
Yeah.
once I have probable cause to enter the vehicle, to search the vehicle, must be able to articulate what that probable cause is. I have to go further than reasonable suspicion.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court says that you guys can lie in your investigation all you want, so it's still a no.
I'm smelling alcohol coming out of the vehicle. That gives me reasonable suspicion to want to take a little closer look and, oh, look, there's a open container.
But you can decline being searched.
It's a 3-week-old beer can sitting in the back. But I went, that gives me reasonable suspicion that there's alcohol in the vehicle. And oh, look, there's the can. That's my probable cause to search your vehicle.
Don't do that anyway, so.
But whatever, I mean, that's just a simple, easy way to explain how I go from reasonable suspicion to probable cause.
Will they also help you out in issues that are more simple, like?
That's what the majority of their stuff that they do, which Jules forgot to mention is that she signed somebody up. 45 minutes later, that person that she signed up as a member brandished his weapon. He got an attorney because he brandished his weapon. That's the majority of these cases they do. It's not that you actually used your firearm.
So even the taking a pee on the side of the road, they will defend that because?
No, I don't believe
You
so.
have to be claiming
No, I mean,
self-defense.
no, I mean, if you had the gun on you.
It has to be self-defense. You have to be able to claim self-defense.
Right, so they're not
In
going
order
to
for
help you
him-
with gun problems in general, it's just if it's a self-defense related.
Self-defense.
Yes.
Okay.
Even if it's without a gun.
There's,
Even if it's without a gun.
one of the ones we use, in addition to UC, what's it called?
USCCA.
Yeah, USCCA, is called Legal Shield.
Mhm.
Now, they will help you with that,
Prepaid attorney,
prepaid, yeah, and so.
retainer.
you can-
So here's
That's what that is.
a problem, not saying the one specifically that you use, but a problem with the prepaid attorneys is that a lot of them say unless it's a felony, we're not going to help you.
Yeah,
Most gun charges aren't felonies. Brandishing isn't a felony, it's that wobbler misdemeanor. So the prepaid defense won't even help with that. Not saying the one specifically that you use,
with
but
use though, yeah.
that is one of the hang-ups that people who've done the prepaid attorney thing have found. So, just depends on the one you use. Every policy is different, every company is different. You gotta do the research and find out what works best for you. SB2. So the gun grabbers are not stupid. They're actually very intelligent. When they first came out with SB2, Senate Bill 2, which did become law, it made it virtually impossible to carry legally anywhere in the state of California. It was brilliant on their end on how they went about it. However, it got challenged, and certain components have been overturned. Certain components have still been in effect. Things are changing rapidly. There are tons of lawsuits out there, and today is one way, and then it gets repealed, and then tomorrow it gets a stay, and then tomorrow it gets repealed. It's ping pong match, which is why you, the gun owner, are responsible for knowing what the laws are this week. So, here's some of the things. The original SB2 said you could not carry into hospitals or medical facilities. That's been overturned. Public transit, that got overturned. Permitted assemblies like festivals and parades, you weren't allowed to carry in a large assembly of people. That's been overturned. You were not allowed to carry in your church or house of worship. That has been overturned. Banks and financial institutions. For a long time, Whoever heard the TV commercial when they talked about the bank, this is an FDIC insured institution. FDIC, the F stands for federal. Federally insured. So the feds went, it's a federal institution now. Your state CCW is no longer valid here because it's federal. Well, that actually got overturned. And they went, just because you're insured by the feds doesn't mean you're a federal installation. So yes, you can carry into your bank. And they're attached parking areas. The rule about private businesses needing a guns okay sign is also stayed. So this issue specifically deals with the vampire rule, which was everywhere is illegal unless they put a "your gun's okay" sticker in the window. That's been overturned. They're fighting that same thing right now in Hawaii. What did stick? No gun zones are in effect. I still have yet anybody to logically, not legally, logically explain to me what a gun-free zone actually is and where that authority comes from, but they've made it stick. Bars and restaurants that serve alcohol. Wait a minute, Mike, yesterday you said something different. You're right, I did. I keep telling you, these things change pretty rapidly. We did this in April, and at the time we did it in April, that was still in effect, but it's been changed. So yes, you can't go to the Mexican restaurant with the big bar now. So it's been changed. Playgrounds, parks, and zoos. That still holds. As we just saw, you can't do it at the playgrounds or the parks or the zoo. I guess they're afraid you're gonna shoot the water buffalo or something at the zoo without a tag. I don't know. State parks. But wait a minute, Mike, just a couple slides ago you said, yep, you're right. It's been overturned. It's changed. Casinos. Okay, now we're talking state of California, not Nevada. Any place where wagering takes place is considered a casino. The dog track, the horse track, the card palace. Any place that you can wager is considered a casino. You can't take your gun in there. Now, this is actually an issue in the Washoe County area because in California, where are casinos? Tribal lands. You guys are a great class. I love that you guys actually know this stuff already. Tribal lands.
Every tribal land has their own laws.
How far can you drive from here without being on tribal land? Not very far. Oh, 2 streets?
We're all on stolen land.
2 streets. And you're on tribal land from here in Reno. One of the world's most dangerous stores and parking lots, right across the street from the Grand Sierra, is on tribal land. And if you look real close, there is a little sign that is letting you know that you're on tribal land. Did you know that you can't be carrying on tribal land at all? It's like going to Iraq, or what used to be Iran now. Sovereign nation. Your state CCW is null and void in another country. That's essentially the way that they look at it. Now, they do, Bureau of Indian Affairs does acknowledge that they have to follow the Constitution. They do have to follow constitutional laws. But some of them don't think they do. And they'll push it. And they'll ride it until it gets overturned. So, my best advice, just don't carry on tribal lands, period. Help yourself before you even leave the house. Best way to avoid the punch Daniel son, no be there. Don't carry your gun onto tribal lands, period. Now, to an attorney friend of mine, I asked him, I says, hey, so you're on I-40 and you're going through Texas and Oklahoma and all of that. It's all tribal lands across there. Am I allowed to drive with it? His answer was actually kind of surprising. He said, I cannot find anything in U.S. code that specifically says you are exempt while driving on the interstate.
Wow.
It is generally accepted. And here's the other argument. Can the state of Oklahoma Highway Patrol have jurisdiction? If they have jurisdiction there, then you're not on tribal lands, are you?
Exactly.
Tell that cop when he pulls you over, we're on tribal land, sir.
That's what I'm saying. If he's got jurisdiction,
That's exactly.
then you're not on tribal land. But there's nothing in US code that's in black and white to specifically say, I say nay, nay. But that's the general rule of thumb. It's generally accepted. If you are on the interstate, driving through, you're not technically under the jurisdiction of the tribal police. However, there is an easement. You get the flat tire, you pull off to the side of the road. There are only so many feet that is considered the easement to the interstate. Once you get past that number, you're on tribal land. I think it's 12 feet, don't quote me, but I believe it's 12 feet. The distance of one lane is what your easement off of the highway pavement actually is.
Is there
Now,
any map that you can put on your phone? Because I used to have the firearm protection and they give you the rules and stuff. But is there anywhere that can specify these Indian reservation areas?
do you know somebody who builds apps? Do you know anybody who
No.
builds an app?
No, but I think
you need to find one, because
that would
that's a
be-
brilliant idea and a money maker
Right.
to build that app, because I don't know of it. I've done a lot of research into this subject specifically because of this class.
Right.
I've had people, one of them, there is a Mercedes dealership local that one of the students is the general manager or something like that. His dealership is actually on tribal land.
Wow.
And he was the one who actually, in the conversation, sparked my drive down the rabbit hole of the designations between tribal lands, not, where it can, where you can't, where does it start, where does it stop. And boy, what a rabbit hole this has been. I'm still 200 feet down it and I haven't come up for air yet. I'm still in the middle of it trying to find answers. It's not easy to find the actual answers.
But your statement is if a peace officer has the jurisdiction to
Make the stop.
make a stop, give you a ticket, do an arrest, then the assumption of that statement is that even though you may have a map that says at some point that this is tribal land, they've got jurisdiction of it. Unlike when you cross a threshold, when you actually go onto an Indian reservation, you are now on their tribal land. I mean, it is crystal clear. And the cops behind, they're stopped, they're having to stop. They can't follow you, go after you. Isn't that the distinction that you're trying to make or can make in that point?
The problem is if the local law enforcement has a deal with the tribal police, then they can do that.
So
But they have to
generally,
get permission, they have to go and do all, yes, but there's a huge distinction. So you're saying right here, your friend with the Mercedes Benz.
this
He's just,
Yeah, come on, can we move on? If you want to litigate, get a lawyer.
like I said, this whole, this is actually my whole point. This is my whole point. It is so convoluted. It is so this way, that way. It is so, there's no definitive that the average person can find. Best way to avoid the punch, Daniel song? Don't be there. Don't carry your gun on tribal lands. Period. To the best of your ability, don't carry your gun on tribal lands. Like I said, it's generally accepted. You're traveling through on the interstate. If the local state's got jurisdiction on it, you're good. You're not going to get it. Now, I'm going to close it up because you're right, we need to move on. One thing. More often than not, if you are not a tribal member, you will be referred to a state court rather than the tribal council, depending on the severity of the crime. But with that said, more often than not, you get hung up, they're going to send you to the state court anyway. So,
Real fast, they're saving members.
don't carry at a casino in California, because casinos in California are tribal lands. Stadiums. Can't carry at the stadiums. Libraries and museums. Okay. And they're attached parking areas. You can't be in the parking lot of the library carrying your gun. I told you, they're brilliant. They're not stupid. They made it virtually impossible to carry concealed legally in California. If it weren't for groups like GOA and CRPA fighting these things and overturning them, and it all stayed the way, you wouldn't even be in this class, and you wouldn't even be able to carry legally anywhere in California. Boy, we did get off track. My thing died, or timed out. Castle Doctrine guy. We saw this yesterday, right?
Shoot an intruder.
We covered that pretty good. The tool of last resort. Now you know where I got the phrase. Any confrontation you can avoid, you win. Best way to avoid punch, Daniel-san? No be there. Avoid, cover, and evade. Help yourself before you leave the house. Don't put yourself in a bad position to begin with. However, God forbid the day comes that you have to use your tool of last resort. What's it going to cost you? A lot. This is why I can't strongly enough recommend every single one of you have some form of CCW insurance. I will forego paying my auto insurance to make sure my CCW insurance is paid. What? That's crazy, Mike. Is it? Because what's the average cost of a vehicle nowadays?
50, 60.
It's probably a lot closer to this than it is that, isn't it? It's probably going to cost me a lot less to deal with an uninsured motorist claim than it is an uninsured gun owner's claim. You do you, boo. You're full-grown adults.
And that's before you get sued, basically.
Oh, and that doesn't even cover the civil end of it. Because the threshold for being convicted in a civil court is far lower than it is in a criminal court. It just has to be more than likely in a civil court. So, we can read penal code. But what do you as the layperson extrapolate from penal code? Lawyers go to school to learn the definition shall will, must. I mean, we can read the words, we can get the idea from it. But as I go through here, nothing explains the law. Bare fare alone, we talked about bare fare. It's not sufficient to justify it. That's California Penal Code 197, codified into law. Bare fare alone does not justify it. Just because I was in fear for my life does not mean I can use lethal force. We kind of beat on this one yesterday, didn't we? We can read all through these penal codes, and you're never going to get what this guy was able to explain to us yesterday, are you?
No.
Unless you're an attorney, unless you're a law student, you can comb through all these penal codes, which is what the law says I'm supposed to teach, is these penal codes. But just by teaching the penal code doesn't do you any good. It's not until you get a guy like this, one of my heroes, who actually explains to you guys what are the 4 general rules of self-defense that authorize the use of deadly force. Nobody has to come up with all 4 of them, but come up with one. What was one of the 4?
Imminent
Imminent fear.
threat. Imminent threat.
Imminent threat of death or great bodily injury to yourself.
Or to someone else.
Imminent threat of death or great bodily injury to
Someone else.
a person, another person. What was the 3rd one? Anybody remember it?
Committing a felony on your person.
Committing a felony on your
Committing a
person.
felony in your house.
And the 4th one was committing a felony upon your... Good job. Good job. That tells me that I'm doing something right, because you guys are getting that. And you understand, you can't be killing people just because he's 6'40", 2 o'clock in the morning, kicked in your door and said, "Where's Lucy?" You have to tell the 12 village idiots what the imminent threat of death or great bodily injury was to keep yourself out of prison.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV.
You guys wanna watch it again?
Washington Gun Law President.
No, you got it. So, DOJ approved storage. We started talking about this a little bit yesterday. Transportation and storage. The person who knows or reasonably should know that a child is likely to gain access to a firearm without the permission of the child's parent, legal guardian, or that person prohibited from possessing a firearm or deadly weapons pursuant to state and federal law is likely to gain access to the firearm. If you can reasonably figure out the kid's gonna get a hold of the gun, you're violating the law. 25105, it's law. We said it yesterday. Who's an unauthorized person?
Everybody you.
Everybody but you. You gotta keep it locked up. And especially now, January 1, California passed the law. It has to be locked up at all times unless it's on your person.
So, that applies to our vehicle when we're going into someplace, we want to go into whatever, a federal building? or we wanna leave the
Especially
car?
that. And
Is
we're
it
gonna get into
considered locked
that.
up if the car doors are locked? I mean, it's in a lock.
We're gonna go through it ad nauseum. You thought the tribal thing. Just wait. It's almost like he was ready for the next slide, huh? Except otherwise provided in the subdivision B of 25140, a person shall, legal definition once again, when leaving a handgun unattended in a vehicle. Like I said, California lock, get your popcorn. We'll lock the handgun in the vehicle's trunk. Lock the handgun in a locked container that is placed in that container out of plain view. We talked about plain view a little bit, but we'll go into it a little bit further. Everybody in Nevada gets to have nice, cool tinted windows. If I walk up and I look in that tinted window and I can see in the car, even if it requires me to turn on a flashlight, that is still considered plain view. Okay, out of plain view. Or lock the handgun in a locked container that is permanently attached to the vehicle's interior and not in plain view.
You define locked container.
Yes, we will get there. A locked container means a secure container that is fully enclosed and locked by a padlock, key lock, combination lock, or similar locking device. The term locked container does not include the utility box or glove box of your motor vehicle. This is Penal Code 25140. It specifically says your glove box or your center console, i.e. utility box, does not apply as a locked container. Even though there's a little lock on your glove box, it's still by law not a locked container. Even though there's a lock on your center console, I think Toyota did it for like the 4Runners and stuff like that. It does not include that. The trunk, some of us are old enough to remember a trunk. Very few car makers nowadays actually make a trunk. I think Subaru makes a trunk, Mercedes makes a trunk, BMW does. Very few. Everybody's gone to the SUV. Everybody's gone to a vehicle that doesn't actually have a trunk. A trunk means a fully enclosed and locked main storage or luggage compartment of the vehicle that is not accessible from the passenger compartment. I think it was Subaru. Used to have the little, like where you have the cup holder in the back seat, the armrest, and it would fold down. And they put the skis through.
Oh, yeah.
My car has that.
Okay. That's not a trunk by definition, because you can access it from the passenger compartment. True story.
How about a truck with a locked cover on it?
You know, it's funny that you asked that, because as we keep going, the rear hatchback, station wagon, sport utility vehicle, or any compartment in which has a window, or a toolbox or utility box attached to the bed of a pickup truck, does not work. So that cool diamond plate toolbox that you got bolted to the back of your pickup truck, separate from the compartment, can't access it from the interior of the car, of the vehicle's compartment. You would think matches the definition of a trunk. No. Even though it's got the locks on it, it specifically states this doesn't count. Now, here's where things change a little bit, because I see the question. I know the question coming. I've done this once or twice. We're going to start and go back a little bit. We talked about that utility box, that center console. They make a safe that fits directly into that center console specifically for that make model of that vehicle. It is bolted to, has a separate key for the safe that circumvents the utility box thing. Because now you are in a separate locked hard-sided container, lockable by lock, key lock, padlock, or other locking device, permanently attached to the vehicle. So you're good with that. Still not good with the glove box. If you put your firearm in a lockbox and then put it into that cool diamond plate toolbox that's bolted down and also has another lock, now you're good. Welcome to California.
Yeah.
So, key lock, hard lockable container. I put it, let me just give you a check for a second. On the floorboard and wrap that around the floorboard of my seat post. Make the loop. It's now attached to the seat. It's now permanently fixed to my vehicle. Now,
Still has to be out of sight?
you know that hoodie that's rolling around in the back seat of the car? Guess what? It's not in plain view anymore, is it? Same thing goes with my floor mat. I just slide it under the seat, throw the floor mat over it. Now I am lockable container, lockable by key lock, padlock, blah, blah, blah. Permanently attached by the cable with floor mat over it, out of plain view. Perfectly legal. That's when you can take off and go inside Costco. Who says you can't bring your gun into Costco with you? But you're, by law, California, by law, good to go by storing it that way.
Okay, so just a quick clarification, because previously it said you just put it in a locked container out of sight. But
Or permanently
right,
attached.
that's what I mean. So if
And
I've got a case, hard-sided case, say
Right.
with a spin lock on it, I
Yep.
can put my gun in there, put it in the back. I don't have a trunk. Put it on the floor in the back seat and throw a sweater over it. I'm okay.
You are
even though
good.
It's not connected to the vehicle.
Doesn't have to be, it's
Okay,
or.
that's why I went. So why would I want to use that when I just have my
Because, to be brutally honest, bad guy was sitting there watching you fiddle around in the
fiddle
parking
around.
lot, waited for you to go into Costco, walked up to the car and went, smash.
grab? Yeah.
He's not just walking off with this. I want to keep my gun. There's a reason I'm locking it up, because I don't want it to disappear.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the extra step, to make sure it's not going to disappear. Answer the question? Cool.
Means I've got to cover all my lock boxes.
So,
Somewhat exposed.
Health and Human Services, California, got a grant, which means your tax dollars, to give these away. This was a freebie, free for nothing. Well, it wasn't really free for nothing. It was my tax dollars that paid for it. It's just a small tax return that I received. But I got myself a little lockbox. You can go down to Shields, you can go to Sportsman's, you can go just about anywhere. What is it, Cal Ranch,
Yeah.
across the street from Boot Barn? I was just in there the other day. $39.99, 40 bucks. How much did you spend on your gun?
5 and up.
$40 is a pretty cheap insurance policy for however much it was that you spent on your pistol. God forbid you're walking around with a staccato that cost you 4,500 bucks. 40 bucks is pretty cheap for an insurance policy. Or in my case, our county got the grant. It had like 2 or 3 pallets of those things. And people walked in, just signed their name. Didn't even sign their name, just wrote your initials on a piece of paper that I'm getting 2 of these. That was it. And I walked out with 2 of them, gratis. So, highly recommend, get yourself a box. I go to court a lot. The bailiff knows I'm retired. The bailiff is more than fine with me walking in, wearing my retired badge and my gun into the courtroom. Because he does know I'm a good guy. However, I still do not take my gun into the courtroom. Why? Why would you do that? Because I'm going to help myself before I even leave the house. I'm going to avoid the problem before the problem even starts. As retired law enforcement, I can still carry a high-capacity magazine. One of those quasi-immortality things that I still get to hold on to. I'm allowed to have a 15-round magazine if I want. However, I still carry a 10-round magazine. 1 in the pipe, 10 in the mag. Do I own 15-round magazines? Maybe. But because I teach this class and I set an example, because I tell you guys, 10-round magazines, I don't want to have to go to court on my bad day and explain to the 12 village idiots why I get the privilege of not having to do a 10-round magazine and have to try and possibly fight that. I help myself before I leave. I carry around extra magazines with me, absolutely I do. But I continue to train, and I'm competent enough and confident enough in my skills that I don't need to have a high capacity magazine. And I'm not going to do it just because I can. Like you said, can you? Yes. Should you? Well, from my position, teaching classes, should I? No, I should set the example. So I set the example. I don't take my gun into the court even though I'm allowed to do it. I don't carry an extra 15-round magazine even though I'm allowed to do it. Because if I'm up here trying to tell people how to go about doing it the right way and save yourself a problem before you leave the house, I should probably take my own advice. And I eliminate the problem before I even leave the house. For the purposes of this section, a vehicle unattended when a person who is lawfully carrying or transporting a handgun in a vehicle is not within close proximity of the vehicle that reasonably prevent unauthorized access to the vehicle or its contents. It's your responsibility to lock your gun up. It's your responsibility to take the steps to try and keep your gun in the car, even if somebody else is trying to break into the car. This is why I wrap it around my seat post. We talked about the plain view thing. With or without illumination. Like I said, cool tinted window, I can walk up, put the flashlight through it. That's still considered plain view. This penal code specifically says this does not include the console or the glove box. This is the second penal code that says this. If they're repeating this in another penal code, they're probably serious about it. Don't leave it in the glove box or the center console. $40. Help yourself before you leave the house. Firearm is carried by the person directly to or from any motor vehicle for any lawful purpose. While carrying the firearm is contained within a locked container. So, what we're talking about here is not your CCW, because your CCW is on your person. This is California law of, I'm going to the range, I'm going to the gunsmith, I'm going hunting. Remember the days We used to have the cool shotgun rack or the rifle
Yes.
rack in the back of the pickup truck. You go to school. I mean, when I was a young kid, we'd drive to school and leave our 22 in the truck because we were going rabbit hunting after school. And we liked it. That's not legal anymore. You are not allowed, and this is part of the erosion of your Second Amendment rights. You're not allowed to just willy-nilly drive around with the firearm in your car. You have to be doing it for a lawful purpose. The lawful purpose has to be articulable. I'm going hunting. I'm going to my brother's house to sell him this gun. I'm taking this to the gunsmith. I'm going to the shooting range. A lawful purpose for taking the gun to a lawful reason.
So I go duck hunting in California. I've got 2 shotguns sitting in the trunk of my car, but they're in soft-sided things that are not locked. Is that now legal?
Now, does that zipper on that soft-sided thing have a hole at the end of that zipper large enough to put a little lock through? Because I guarantee you if it does, there's a little D-ring loop on the other side the zipper comes to, you can lock that.
So that has to be locked is what you're telling me?
That has to be locked.
Wow, I've broken the law a lot then.
So when you guys come.
Never admit to things, we just may or may not have
You
done
got to be a
things.
lockbox when you bring the guns up to.
So the difference is when you get out of your car and it's unattended, then it has to be in a hard case, like your metal box?
So, the gun on my hip, I'm going into some place I can't take my gun. Has to be in the,
So his soft
Lockable
case doesn't
container.
work then in the trunk?
his soft case.
For my shotgun.
I don't believe it said hard-sided. I think I may have said it. Lock container means a secure container that is fully enclosed and locked by a padlock, key lock, combination lock, similar locking device. The lock container does not include. So, does it say hard lockable container anywhere? I may say hard lockable container because I got used to saying that. But soft case that's lockable, fully enclosed, still covers it, right?
I know, it says secure container.
One of my things is not even have a zipper.
Secure.
Define secure.
Yeah.
You know, I zipped it, I locked it, that's secure.
So Jeff was saying, like when we go to visit the sheriff, it should be in, like, bring in a Vault-Tec or whatever. We should
Because you
bring
don't have your CCW in California yet,
okay.
you are still transporting that firearm.
Or like a stop
And
box.
while you're
or whatever.
transporting a firearm in the state of California,
Yeah.
it's gotta be locked up.
Does a gun cable suffice if it's locked?
Fully enclosed.
It's in a bag.
Probably best not to try to figure it out. Just figure you're gonna get screwed if you don't overdo it.
A secure container that is fully enclosed and locked by a padlock, key lock. So you can put that little barrel lock through it, put it in a bag, and then lock that bag.
Then you're fine.
Firearm is carried by the person for lawful purpose. The provisions of this section do not prohibit or limit otherwise lawful carrying or transportation of any pistol, revolver, or firearm capable of being concealed upon a person. So this says your CCW, you can drive around with it on your person, locked and loaded, and it doesn't have to. Making the distinction between your CCW and the transportation of a firearm in the state of California. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Not to me. But you get what the law says. Once again, I may not agree with the law, just telling you what the law is. And as long as you understand that yes, until it's on your permit, make, model, and serial number on your permit, on your hip, it has to be locked up. And it has to be for a lawful purpose. that you're carrying that firearm around. I'm going camping. Plan on doing some target shooting when I'm there. I'm gonna do some rabbit shooting on lawful purpose. That's fine. But you can't just roll around with the gun in your car anymore in California just because you wanted to exercise your Second Amendment right. Anybody remember Chris Kyle? Anybody know who he is?
The SEAL that got shot by
Who was he?
he was a Navy SEAL sniper that got shot by somebody on the range that was disgruntled or got beat.
Arguably one of the greatest war hero snipers of all time. He was helping out veterans, helping them work through PTSD. We went through that at nauseam, didn't we? You guys understand PTSD now. He was trying to get him to go through it, and while he was on the range getting this guy to go through it, the guy shot and killed him. PTSD kills more than just you. So anyway, Chris Kyle said, I began teaching my son to shoot when he was 2. Starting with the basics of a BB rifle, my theory is kids get into trouble because of their curiosity. If you don't satisfy it, you're asking for big problems. If you inform them and carefully instruct them on the safety when they're young, you avoid a lot of trouble. My son has learned to respect weapons. I've always told him, if you want to use a gun, come get me. There's nothing I like better than shooting.
Amen to that.
To a certain degree, I agree with Chris Kyle, to a degree. However, there is a fault in his theory. Now, I, much like him, started teaching my kids at a very young age. How many of the kids that are in your life, grandkids, actual kids, whatever, played with Nerf guns?
Sure.
Should be everybody's hand going up because most of the kids are playing with Nerf guns. So he and I, we have the great indoor Nerf war. And he'd always get mad because Dad would win. And then it dawned on me. I got a fresh computer hard drive that has no information inputted onto it. Why don't I start teaching him the proper principles with the Nerf gun? And start teaching him how to use the Nerf gun the same way that I would teach somebody to use a firearm. He was 5 years old, and we were working in a fire team, 2-man fire team, and we would clear the house on a regular basis using proper tactics. He sucked it up like a sponge.
Yep.
He has proper muzzle discipline. He indexes his finger. He understands pieing a corner. He understands the difference between cover and concealment. He's 5 years old, and I could put him in a stack with any SWAT team, and he would be able to clear my house with that SWAT team in proper order.
That's cool.
Because I taught him how to do it. I agree with this theory. He was shooting, he was about 5 when we started shooting the 22. Grandson came along from my wife's daughter's son, came to live with us. Guess what we did? Same thing I did with my kid. Brought him along. I now have a 10-year-old grandson who just came to live with us in October.
Wow.
But even 48 hours. And I got him watching Eddie Eagle.
Yep.
The NRA, and I know that I sound like I bag on the NRA, and I really don't bag on the NRA. It's just they don't do much for California. They work on a national level. But they did a study They took 100 kids from all different levels of experience, kids who've never seen a gun, to kids like mine who were working with live firearms, to everything in between. I believe it was at 10 at a time. They put them all in a room with a gun. All 100 kids all did one thing in common. Every single one of them all did one thing in common. Anybody know what that is?
Don't touch, leave the area.
Whoa, everybody's answering one at a
Don't touch
time.
it.
They touched it. They touched it. Every single kid touched it. Firearms have two natural enemies: rust and politicians.
Yeah.
As long as I leave that gun there, it is never going to go off. As long as nobody touches it, it's never going to go off. There's never going to be an accident as long as nobody touches it. So the NRA went, you know what? How do we keep kids alive? How do we keep kids from having accidents? They came up with Eddie Eagle. Now, my partner Jeff just drives him up the wall. So I'm not going to play the whole 15-minute cartoon for you. Everybody can look at Jeff and go, thanks, Jeff. But I am going to play it for you. I hope it's an earworm. Everybody's got my business card in the little red folder. My phone number is on it. You call me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, yelling at me, calling me four-letter words because this is stuck in your head when you woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go get a snack. Good. Call me, because I don't take my phone to bed, I leave it downstairs. But I'll still hear it, and I will love it, because that means you learned it. That means, one, just going to continue breathing, because I showed this to you, and hopefully you show it to them. If you've got little ones in your life, or you know somebody who's got little ones in their lives, it's on YouTube. Eddie Eagle. That's all you got to remember. Eddie Eagle on YouTube. Have the kids watch it. If enough kids watch it and enough kids learn, stop. Don't touch. Run away. Tell a grown-up. We're not going to have any more kids accidentally shoot themselves.
We use this about 5 years ago.
Yeah. Mike?
Yeah.
40 years ago, I was doing this with my kids. It was 8-track tape back then. Very effective.
Beta.
Yeah, we were with VHS, but same thing.
So, moving on. Can you still hear it in your head?
It's almost as bad as...
Pursuant to the California Penal Code 25610, a United States citizen over the age of 18 who is not prohibited from possessing a firearm or firearm possession, and who resides or is temporarily in California, may transport by motor vehicle any handgun provided it is unloaded and locked in the vehicle's trunk or locked container. Furthermore, the handgun must be carried directly to or from any motor vehicle for any lawful purpose. While it is being carried, must be contained within the locked container. You gotta take it out of the safe, put it in a locked container, and then carry it to the car. Can't just grab the shotgun off the wall, take it out to the pickup truck and throw it in the shotgun rack like we used to do. Welcome to California. May not agree with the law, just telling you what it says.
I have okay, so I started in California. I had a Glock 17, and I would take the slide lock and lock it around, wrap it around the handle. That's okay, right? The Glock box with the slide lock, wrap it around.
As long as it is in a secured container.
So I'm just mentioning that.
That is locked.
You can open it,
And
that's what TSA will do. if you can pry it open, it's illegal. So
Right.
a cable lock, that might
Around the
not-
handle.
Well, we'll get to TSA in a bit.
Okay.
Just talking about like transporting the car, just mentioning it, that's all.
The case that I just showed you, TSA approved.
Right.
You can do that.
I have one of those too. so.
Upon proof of all of the following, the sheriff of the county or the chief or other head of a municipal police department of any city and county may issue an applicant a license to carry a concealed pistol, revolver, or other firearm capable of concealing a person. If the applicant is of good moral character, good cause exists, good cause has been removed. You don't have to have good cause because California is a shall issue state. So your good cause is out the window. Used to be the old days that you'd have to give a good cause statement. What is a good cause statement? Well, I'm a jeweler. I carry diamonds and lots of cash. No. Because the use of lethal force does not include the protection of private property. However, I travel in a remote area where cell phone signal is non-existent. And if there is cell phone signal, I have an extended wait time for police response. That's a good cause statement to protect myself or others from death, great bodily injury. But the good cause statement's out. Fortunately, you don't have to learn that one. The applicant has been deputized or appointed as a cop.
Posse combat officers.
Yeah. Brandishing. Penal Code 417. California Penal Code. Every person, except for in self-defense, not fear for their life, self-defense, in the presence of any other person, draws or exhibits a deadly weapon whatsoever. Brandishing.
That's offensive.
It exhibits any deadly weapon whatsoever other than a firearm in a rude, angry, or threatening manner. Or who in any manner unlawfully uses a deadly weapon other than the firearm in any fight or quarrel is guilty of a misdemeanor, punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not less than 30 days. You get caught brandishing, you're going to jail for 30 days, minimum. Mandatory minimum. You guys heard that before? Mandatory minimum sentencing? It's a big thing in California. If the violation occurs in a public place and the firearm is a pistol, revolver, or other firearm capable of being concealed upon the person, it is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not less than 3 months, and not more than 1 year, and by fine not to exceed $1,000, or both.
So is that a felony?
It's a misdemeanor.
Okay.
It's a misdemeanor. What is brandishing? Did we go through this yesterday? Am I brandishing? If a person is likely to be able to discern. We talked about the Magnum PI flower print, breaks up that pattern. Camo print breaks up that pattern. So we talked about brandishing probably pretty good. And you guys understood that. And like I said, all it takes is for Karen to feel threatened. Or threatening manner. I think it was rude. And I felt threatened. She just defined the elements of the crime. Other laws you need to know. No shooting from vehicles. Drive-by shootings are illegal in California.
That actually makes sense.
It also includes road hunting. You can't be sitting there bumping down the dirt road and go, stop the truck, there's a nice 8-pointer. Open up that door and brace that rifle off of that doorpost. Can't be doing that. And just because the only deer you saw all day was on a stupid little sign that somebody put a red nose sticker on, you can't shoot it. It's illegal. You gotta be at least 100 yards off the road. So now when you tell them stop the truck, there's the 8-pointer, you gotta go hoofing it out 100 yards, hope he doesn't see you. By the time you get there, if you're like me, you're going, and you're not gonna get that shot at 100 yards from breathing so hard, but you gotta be at least 100 yards off the road. No firearms within 300 yards of the outside perimeter of a school. How many people have driven by Worcester? Are you 300 yards from the perimeter of the school when you drive by Worcester? We have schools like that in California too. In fact, Susanville's got the high school right there on Main Street. Technically, because you were doing 30 miles an hour in the 25-mile-an-hour zone, the cop pulls you over for it, and then you decide to tell him that you're paying his salary and that you're a sovereign citizen and you are traveling, not driving. Can he hang you up on that? Yeah. If you're being a normal human and you're just driving down the road and you say please and thank you, do you think he's going to hang you up on that? Probably not.
But he can.
But he can.
Because even if you're nice to him, he can pull you over.
But he can. Yeah.
Because you're a known concealed carry.
No firearms within 300 yards of the state legislature's house. Gavin Newsom has figured out that 300 yards is a long shot. So I don't want you within 300 yards of my house. If I was Gavin Newsom, I would want that law in effect.
More like 3,000 yards.
No firearms at polling places. I kind of agree with that one. We saw what happened with that Black Panthers in the 60s, didn't we? Well, there's a couple of you guys old enough to remember hearing the story of that at least. Public gatherings, state and county, federal buildings, and post offices.
That's right.
Wait a minute.
Get rid of that one.
Can you carry in a post office?
Yes.
You can now. That just changed. Thanks to CRPA, Gun Owners of America, those that fight those fights for you. That's been overturned. Public gatherings have been overturned. State and county federal buildings, still can't carry there. Don't go to the city council meeting wearing your gun. Don't go to the board of supervisors meeting wearing your gun. That'll get you hung up.
Don't walk in the sheriff department when you're doing it with the weapon on.
Do not walk into the sheriff's department going, I'm a CCW holder.
That's a good point.
You were a CCW holder. Let me have that perfect, sir, because you are not allowed to come into this county building wearing your gun. No magazines larger than 10 rounds. Do you see a pattern with this one? They've been saying this over and over and over, haven't we?
Yeah.
Do you think we want to make that clear? Remember, if you make a mistake in either the use of a firearm or the laws pertaining to firearms, it will usually negatively impact your life forever. Any Sandlot fans?
Oh, yeah.
At least I got one giggle out of it.
Real fast, Mike. The first one, no shooting from vehicles, there's normal shooting. If you get carjacked or whatever, you can defend yourself with your weapon in the vehicle.
Self-defense.
Yeah.
Self-defense kind of overrides that one.
Yeah.
Climb. How many people fly with their gun?
I haven't done it yet.
Okay. Is anybody not taking it because they weren't sure how to go about it and they were afraid to do it? Don't be. Here's how you do it. I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. Call the carrier. Ask them how they want it done.
Yeah.
Go online. Print out the carrier's policy of how they want it done. Take that with you when you go. Because Southwest says, I want your gun and your box of factory ammo in the same locked box. JetBlue says, I want your gun in this locked box and I want your ammo in this locked box. It's up to the carrier. So print it out, because you never know. Susie, maybe I'm working at JetBlue last week, and now she's working over at Southwest. And she goes, you gotta have them in 2 separate boxes. And you go, oh, no. Susie, go get your manager, please. Because here's your website printout of how it says you want it done. And the manager comes out and goes, sorry, sir. Susie used to work at JetBlue last week, and that's the way that she was trained over there. You're absolutely correct. This is how we do it over here. Please take it over to wait for the TSA officer. It'll be somewhere about the next 7 to 10 minutes before he comes out, does an inspection, and then takes your firearm back.
Is there generally a maximum amount of ammo you can carry on airplanes? Like 50 rounds or something like that?
Yes, it's going to depend on the carrier, but the general accepted rule, box of 50, a fresh box of 50 pistol rounds, a fresh box of 20 rifle rounds, a box of 25 shotgun rounds, a box. General rule of thumb.
Weight.
The weight?
Yeah, my business partner just came back from a trip. He flew Southwest required, they said put your rounds in your luggage, in your checked luggage. Lock the lock box. If it has two locking holes, you have to have 2 locks. You not just have one. And I believe it was a maximum of 11 pounds of ammunition.
There you go.
Oh, wait. Okay.
There you go. Things are changing all the time. Things are changing faster than we can keep up with them. Look it up online. Call the carrier. Print it out. Don't be afraid to fly with it. No loose ammo. Normally they don't like it unless it's in a factory box. So everybody in here is a CCW holder right now, correct?
Yeah.
What kind of ammo do you carry?
What do you mean in my gun? I have the little, they're called a GX or G9X or something like that. They're the
GX or
they have the spiral,
GX9?
100 grain. Yeah, they have the spiral flutes.
Something like that?
Yeah.
What do you carry?
Same.
Same as him? Is it because he puts it in your gun for you?
Yeah.
What do you carry?
124 grain hollow point.
Who makes it?
Can't remember the manufacturer.
Don't remember. What you carry? Whatever he puts in your gun?
No, I actually know how to load my gun.
No, I understand you know how to, but what you carry?
Good at it.
I've been using the Sig Sauer.
Yeah. Sig Sauer what?
I don't know what it's called, it's 9mm.
I don't know what it's called. What you carry?
I like the Federal Hydroshock stuff usually.
Hydroshock. What you carry?
So the Federal, but I just actually switched from the Hornady because I had a 115 and I prefer the 124, so I went to the Federal to use that hollow point. I think I don't know the exact. I know it's a hollow point. That's all I know, and it's the 124 grain for the 9mm.
The critical duty?
For the Federal?
No. For the
I used to have that, but that was in a 115 grain, so I just didn't.
Critical duty. What'd you carry?
Critical defense.
Critical
the
defense.
FBI protocol, all that good stuff.
How about you?
Critical defense.
Critical defense.
Excellent.
Lead for
115
4.
grains.
And the same as for federal 124 grain hollow points.
Probably not a good shot. That's good.
What about you guys? What are you carrying?
Winchester ones, exactly what it is.
The Winchester Ranger round?
Yep, that's right. SMB, I think it's 124 grain hollow points.
What do you carry?
I'm gonna submit this for your approval. I'll let you know in a minute.
Okay. Inquiring minds, yeah.
Theatrical in a second.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. What did you say you carried? I don't know, a 124 what? He doesn't know what he was carrying. What kind of a responsible gun owner does not know what they're carrying? Notice I'm doing this as a district attorney would do it. I'm not picking on you personally. Hydroshock. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this man was carrying hydroshock ammunition when he brutally gunned down this innocent man trying to steal his wallet from him. This is one of my favorites. Ranger rounds. Law enforcement ammunition. Says it right there on the box. Tell me, sir, what law enforcement agency are you with? Are you a law enforcement officer, sir?
No.
Oh! Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, he is not a law enforcement officer. Therefore, he must be some vigilante who went out to purposely kill that man as a vigilante. Critical duty. What duty were you on? Who do you work for? What kind of duty were you on? Once again, are you a vigilante? The reason why the Ranger ammo is my favorite one is because it was actually involved in a case where that's exactly what the DA did. Word for word, that's exactly what the DA did. Because the 12 village idiots don't have any experience with firearms. They picked the juries, and they specifically tried to pick the juries to help their side of the case. So, as a DA, I want 12 village idiots who know nothing about firearms. So I can make the argument that he is a vigilante using law enforcement ammunition, specifically looking to kill somebody while he was carrying his weapon. It actually happened. And they won. Because the DA was able to spin the story to the 12 village idiots. Doesn't care if you're innocent or guilty, just wants to win so that they can become the AG, not the DA. They're looking to pad their resume. They're looking to do anything that they can do to take the law-abiding citizen who was defending themselves and turn them into the bad guy. They're looking to turn every single one of you into the bad guy. Help yourself before you leave the house. I'll answer your question. I carry critical defense because yes, every single attorney is going to take whatever box of ammunition that you had and they're going to put it right there for the jury to look at. They're going to go get a box of that and put it right there and let the jury look at it.
That's damn clever.
Here's the thing. Started to get into it. Ask those people who went to jury duty. Who was it that raised their hand? When you were in jury duty, did they ask the witnesses to raise their right hand? Say, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I only made it to the first round of questioning, and then the defense is a branch.
Did you actually get to the box?
Yeah.
They ask the witnesses to do that?
Yeah, they do.
Did they ask the attorney to do that?
No. but
Did they
it's
ask
not-
the AG, the DA to do that?
Well, they agree to that under their license.
Do they? They do not
Absolutely.
make them take the oath in the courtroom.
Not in the courtroom, but
No.
the assumption is. under
There's the
their license.
assumption.
Yeah,
You know what that means?
Uh-huh.
yeah.
There's a reason why they don't have the attorneys take the oath.
I
You
see
gotta
what
tell
you're
the
saying,
truth.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're allowed
But
to
the
use
DA
accepting it.
can sit there and spin the story to sway the 12 village idiots to their side of the story. Yes, I carry critical defense because I want the big black letters sitting on the box right in front of the 12 village idiots reading defense right there on the box.
Yeah, that's a real smart move. I like that.
I buy my critical defense every October. Do you know why October?
Oh, okay.
Because there's a pretty pink bow. Breast cancer awareness on the box. Sing the tatas. Yes, I want to look soft. For the most part, the big ugly guy sitting there in the box needs every edge he can get to make him look soft to the 12 village idiots.
You're never gonna manage that.
You'll get a man to say just about anything to make sure he stays out of prison. I spent a career in prison. I'll tell you the truth. I'll say anything I gotta say not to go back to prison. Pretty pink softens you up. Pretty pink bow. Critical defense. Not hydroshock. RIP rounds. Zombie killers.
Yeah, that's not.
When it comes to your defense attorney putting your box of ammunition on the stand for the 12 village idiots, what do you want it to say?
Defense, not offense.
I want to prove my defense. You raised your hand.
Yeah, again, so I've heard this, years ago from other people talking about, that, sometimes people get into the thing, they're like any hollow point, because people are saying like, oh, you use the hollow point bullet, but of course, the RG standard or something like that. Like everyone at
There's
this day and
always-
age is okay with the hollow point.
How many
Others
attorneys
not.
are in the phone book just in the Reno area?
Yeah, hundreds.
That's how many arguments you have.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got an argument.
What did active law enforcement use? Do they have?
When I was on the department, we used Ranger rounds, believe it or not.
There you go.
Some use critical, some use, most of them are, that I've asked, use the word critical.
Critical
duty. But a good attorney would also argue that, look, my defendant was using what his local sheriff or police department is using because they know it's effective.
Was he trained in law enforcement? Was he trained to the standards and the specs of a law enforcement officer? Was he trained to that level, sir?
Yes, I was.
Oh, he is.
Want my certifications?
Yes, we
Okay.
do want your certifications. Does any of your certifications have a post number on it?
No.
No. Then I argue, sir, you were not trained to police officer standards of training. You may have received training, but you were not trained to the level of a police officer, because that's what post is peace officer standards of training. This is what they're going to do.
I'm glad you're saying it.
I hear you. And like I said, at the beginning of this class, I come from a completely different background than what any other CCW class that you're going to go to. These are the things that I'm dealing with working as a defense investigator now. That's a real case.
I have heard from attorneys who specialize in two-way also that too much training or can be a problem also.
Well,
In other words, if you are, that's what they said. They
You know
use it
what?
against you if you're training.
Too much
way
oxygen is going to kill you.
Right, I know that. I'm just saying that's what they.
Too much of
I'm not-
anything.
I'm not
Can be
saying
a
that I
hindrance.
wouldn't train.
So
I'm
tell
just
me,
saying-
what is the standard level?
I don't know,
Reasonable.
but they
I don't
did say
know.
that training can.
So it depends
affect
on
you.
the
And I'm not just-
objective
but see, I didn't
person
mean that as an
who's
argument
going
to
to
what you're
say,
saying.
is this enough? Is this
Well, I
enough?
know,
Is this
but-
too much? Is this, you
Yeah.
know what?
I've trained, bro, so I mean,
I
I'm not
get it.
saying this to.
And please don't take the offense that I'm arguing with you.
Oh, no, I'm not trying to-
doing
I'm
it
just-
merely
I'm saying that
for
to you, sir.
making the point
Yes,
for the
sir.
rest of the class.
Yeah.
Is-
Question on the box, it says light, is that just because it's the?
They're 115 grain.
Because that's a different box, I don't
They're
think so.
115 grain instead of 124.
It's a different powder charge, which gives
Lighter trout.
lighter recoil.
And is it considered a hollow point since it's
Yes.
filled? It is, even though
Yes.
it's filled?
That's
It is a
powder-
hollow point. Part of what Hornaday does is they put this little plug in there, and it helps with the expansion of the hollow point. Have you ever seen what looks to be like a flower after they've been spent, and it opens
Yeah.
up and expands?
Is it still illegal? in San Francisco?
Sometimes with certain calibers,
Huh?
you'll get material, clothing material,
Right.
caught up in that, which doesn't allow for the proper expansion. So that little plug, actually, once it starts to go in and it starts to expand on its own, it expels that plug and it allows for a proper expansion. That's the theory.
Right, in the past, San Francisco said.
City of San
hollow point
Francisco
is illegal?
says no hollow points at all.
That's what I thought, so
Because
that's what I was
some
asking.
legislature who knows absolutely nothing about ammunition says the cordless hole puncher is by far safer than the hollow point, because they want it to go right through your intended target and into the unintended target at Pier 39. Yeah, this is what happens when people vote for people who don't know what they're talking about. The AR-15 shoots a hole this big, and semi-automatic, automatic weapon shoots 100 rounds in a second. This is what legislatures are actually on TV saying.
It's the thing that goes up.
But they get voted in.
So that's illegal in
Just check
San
on your
Francisco?
timing, where you were thinking about heading out.
We're gonna be at the range about 3:30,
Okay.
right in that.
So that's not legal for San Francisco, got it.
So when you're in the city of San Francisco, you have to carry all ammunition. Once again, who's responsible for knowing the law? You are. Is ignorance an excuse for not knowing the law? No. Would you have known that had you not been in this class? No. Glad you learned something. What's the best way to avoid that problem?
Don't go to San Francisco.
Don't go to San Francisco. Best way to avoid Punch Danielson. No be there. Do not fight other people's battles for them. There must be an imminent threat of death or great bodily injury. I'm hoping we beat that into your heads to where you truly understand that. And we talked about this a little bit at the break. He's the clerk. And I said, give me the money. And you just walked into the convenience store. Is he an imminent threat of death or great bodily injury?
Not to you.
Can you shoot him?
Yes.
Yes.
Should you shoot him?
Difficult life going forward.
Are you willing to change your entire life and your entire world for a man you've never met before?
Man, that's a tough one.
We've been talking about what happens to your life once you use that tool of last resort. Are you willing to change your entire life's existence as you know it because of this? Now, let me change it. Boom! Give me the money. Is that change it?
Yes, it shows more intent.
Yes, it sure does. Yes, it sure does. It sure does show that there's intent. He already pulled the trigger once. What is the likelihood of him pulling the trigger again? It is by far greater than if he just walked in and said, give me the money, huh? It's a moral and an ethical question. It's rhetorical. You have to find out, you know, we went through the slide with the sheepdogs. Is it in you? That's a question only you can answer with inside of yourself at 2 o'clock in the morning when no one's listening. That's the question. Am I better off just being a good witness? Come in, give me the money. He gets the money and he leaves. The cops show up. White guy, this tall, 220 pounds, flannel shirt, blue jeans, green t-shirt, white Nikes with an orange swoosh on it. Jumped into an 89 Honda Accord, California plate, Ford GBF 138. Is there anything wrong with that? Because guess what's going to happen? It's not even going to be 3 minutes, and guess who's getting pulled over? And your life doesn't have to change. Sometimes being a good witness is better than intervening with your tool of last resort. But it's under the totality of the circumstances. I'm not saying it has to happen every time, but you, the full-grown adult who carries a gun, who has great power and great responsibility, has to understand the difference between when you can and when you should. And are you going to be able to tell the 12 village idiots why you did what you did? And is it going to fall under the category of a justified legal shooting? Because guess what's going to happen after that? You're cleared. Dismissed. Out the door you go. Good shoot. Guess what happens?
Civil suit.
Some guy like me catches you outside the courthouse and goes, you've been served. What do you mean I've been served? I was just found innocent. I was acquitted. Yeah, not from the lawsuit from the family, sir. Have a nice day. What? Anybody remember Michael Brown? Ferguson, Missouri?
Yeah.
The teenage kid, the poor, innocent, 6'3", 300-pound kid who attacked the cop sitting in his car and tried to take his gun from him. But the Lies at 5 wanted to show you his freshman high school photo because he was such a good kid. And his mother was on TV and she says, why a mother gotta worry that her kid gonna come home dead every time you rob a liquor store? I'm not joking, she said that.
Well, there's logic, isn't it?
It was a righteous shoot. You were defending yourself. You don't think that civil suit's coming? Even if they were an orphan. But that third cousin once removed hears about it. They are the next of kin. You've been served. Yep, that's coming. Which is why it's so important to have some CCW insurance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because how much just got spent fighting that legal battle to keep you out of prison? Took 2 years to do. $60,000 on the retainer. She kind of touched on it. Do you guys understand what the retainer actually is? A retainer?
Down payment.
Down payment.
Yep, I'll take your case. That's it. That's all that is. Yep, I'll take your case. He didn't do a darn thing. other than say, I'll take your case. That's $60 out the window. 60 grand out the window, gone. Ain't coming back. Just for the attorney to go, yep, I'll take your case. Rabbit hole. So, CCW, it's not a hunting license. When you practice, clean up after yourself, pick up your brass, remove your trash, don't leave a mess. We shoot at an outdoor range where we shoot. I can't tell you how many pigs come up there and just leave their trash laying around, and probably 4 boxes of shotgun shells laying around. Pick up after yourselves. Full-grown adults. Don't try to be the cop. It's not your job. It's all right, officer, I got this. I'm a CCW holder. If you're not a cop, don't do the cop's job. When you're trying something new, practice with the unloaded firearm. Don't be the poor guy who goes, bang! Son of a... I just shot myself. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Practice with an empty firearm first. Practice until you can't get it wrong. If you're pulled over for any reason and you have a firearm, you identify yourself as a CCW holder and tell the officer where your gun is, then follow his instructions. We kind of touched on this yesterday. When the cop pulls you over, who's pulling you over? Who's in the car behind you?
An officer.
The cops.
Human being.
Does he have any idea who is in the car in front of him? Who do you think's probably more nervous at this point? As nervous as you think you are when you get pulled over? Got no clue what I'm walking up on. Could be a mom updating her Facebook as she's going down the road. Could be a drunk driver. Could be a serial killer. Don't know. Could be doing it on purpose to ambush the cop. We don't know. We don't know what we're walking up on. Make the cop feel as comfortable as possible. I know that sounds silly. Pull over. Roll down your passenger window, because nowadays, you walk up to the passenger window. Turn your dome light on if it's dark. Turn the car off. You leave the keys in the ignition, just turn the car off. Leave your hands up on the top of the steering wheel. Don't be fidgeting around looking for your license and your registration. Wait for him to come up and ask. When he comes up, hi, I'm Officer so-and-so, I'm with agency such and such, I stopped you today for speeding. Do you have your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance? Yes, sir, officer. Just wanted to let you know I am a CCW holder and I have it on my right hip. Awesome. This is how it goes in Lassen County. Great. As long as yours stays there, mine stays here too. Go ahead and hand me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. Is that how it's going to happen in San Francisco? Is that how it's going to happen in Sacramento? Probably not. But at least you let him know right off the bat. And you'd ask him, how would you like to proceed? Because he does have the right to have you step out of the car. Does have the right to have you put your hands on top of the hood of the car while he disarms you. And then takes your gun back to his car to run the numbers. And then, after he gets done dealing with you one way or the other, however it works, you may get a little bit of extra juice because you are a law-abiding citizen and a CCW holder, and you know what? You're a good guy. Because you went through the class. Because you went through the steps that the law asks you to go to. You're not the dirtbag out breaking into cars, selling dope, trafficking children that I'm looking for. You're just the average Joe who took the extra time to get legal to carry your gun. Well, I stopped you for doing 75 and a 65. Tell you what, just slow down, take it easy, have a nice night. He just let me go. He could. He could. I'm not saying everyone's going to, but you know what? Just the fact that you were courteous, just the fact that you put him at ease, and you made his job a lot safer and a lot smoother, and you didn't tell him that you paid his salary or that you're traveling and that you're a sovereign citizen, he's probably gonna go, you know what? You're not public enemy number one. I tell you what, slow down, have a nice night. Now, you're doing 80 or better, you're getting a ticket. Hate to tell you, you're going 80 or better, you're getting a ticket. He might be really polite about it, but you're still getting a ticket if you're going over 80. But if you're somewhere under there, there's a good chance because you took the class, because you're a law-abiding citizen, because you did notify him and let him know. There's a good chance.
What happens if you're the passenger and you get pulled, you're not driving, you're the passenger and you're carrying, and they're going 75 miles an hour, let's say?
The officer address you at any point in time.
That speeding ticket? Yes, he asked me to get the registration
He asked you to get the registration for the driver.
for my wife.
But that was about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a consensual conversation with you in
Not
any way,
really,
shape, or
no.
form.
Don't you guys normally, as law enforcement, ask for everybody's ID in the vehicle? There's more than one.
No.
Not a speeding ticket.
After what?
If there's more than one, you just said not for a speeding ticket. If there's more than one people in the car, you don't ask for everybody's ID, do you?
No.
Just the driver?
No.
Okay.
Not unless the passenger's running their mouth. You don't have to tell him nothing. He can't ask you where you're going. Excuse me, ma'am. Who are you?
Yeah.
Do you have your driver's license, ma'am? It's all about your attitude test. Realistically, it's all about your attitude test. As long as you're passing the attitude test, you're making his job easier. You're not trying to fight him on the side of the road. You're not trying to hold court on the side of the road. I was only going 68 miles an hour. I want to see your radar. Can you show me where it's locked? How many times have you been speeding and not gotten a ticket?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Out of all those times, and this is the one time you got me, you got me. Now if I want to go to court and fight it there, take it to court and fight it there, but don't try and hold court on the side of the road. It's never going to go well for you. Trust me, it's never going to go well for you. Rabbit hole. Let's keep moving. Don't let this be the end of your training. Find a certified trainer and train. Get some extra, I don't care what level of training that you're in. Jeff and I arguably probably pretty proficient with the firearms, aren't we? If we're proficient enough to be teaching you or teaching police departments, safe to say we're probably pretty proficient with the firearms. You know that it is not a waste of money for me to get another certified instructor and work with me for an hour? Because guess what? I have bad habits too. Hey, try this. Hey, correct that. Oh yeah. Hey, thanks. It's going to benefit you. It is going to benefit you no matter what level you're at to get with a certified instructor and get some extra training. Don't let today be the end of your class. Don't just go home and put your gun in your nightstand and wait 2 years from now and then come back and call us up and say, hey, I wanted to qualify with you guys to renew. I've been in there for 2 years. I can't tell you how many times that actually happens. It really does. And a lot of times, it's former cops.
Everything's good.
So, don't let it be the end of your training. Keep it training. Keep it going. We already did the holster work. Practice drawing from concealment. Practice shooting, practice drawing from a seated position. So we talked about the Texas shooting, but here's another one for you. Where are you most vulnerable? In the course of your normal day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, where are you most likely the most vulnerable?
Oh, at home.
Cheryl,
2 o'clock in the seat of your truck.
Driving your car.
Driving your car. What position are you in when you're driving your car?
Seated.
Would it make sense to learn how to draw from a seated position if you're in one of the most vulnerable positions, driving your car? How often do we spend here, West Coast people, we spend a lot of time in our cars, don't we? We spend a lot of time being in the car. How many times you pull up to an intersection, and you're gonna think about this later when you leave here. You're gonna pull up in an intersection, you're gonna be the 3rd car back from the limit line. And you're gonna have 2 cars parked right next to you. And then you're gonna have a car right behind you. Where are you going?
You're trapped.
What you doing? How you getting out of that?
Just
You're pretty vulnerable in that situation, aren't you?
Any recommendations for a right-handed person in a car with the seatbelt buckle?
That's a whole class.
That's a whole.
That's a whole class. Not an 8-hour class, trust me. That's not a 16-hour class. But that's a whole,
yeah.
That's a whole hour of training.
Gotcha.
Go find somebody, train you on that.
Yeah.
So I'm left-handed, so obviously I'm in the corner of the
Easier.
car. It's, well, no, because the window's right here.
Makes it a little more difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a whole hour on that.
At least, if not more.
There's a whole bunch of different,
This.
there's no the way, there is a way.
Right.
And it's a way that works for you. And there's different options to explore to find a way that works for you. Know which way your magazine is facing when you carry. How many people grab a hold of your magazine and automatically, when you grab a magazine, index your finger on the tip of the round?
Try to.
4? That means there's 15 people in here who don't. Learn how to grab a hold of your magazine. When you're pulling it out of your pocket, it doesn't matter what position it's in, you can reach in and you can feel where the tip of that cartridge is in the magazine. And put your finger right there. Because it doesn't matter if it's dark, it doesn't matter if your eyes are closed, you can always insert that magazine the correct way when you index your finger on that magazine. And trust me, when you're shaking and adrenaline dumping and you're trying to get a magazine, you know, we talked about the double big gulp and then having to try and get yourself to the restroom. Yeah, ain't much different. Trying to get that little magazine to figure out how to go into that gun. But if you learn the proper technique, you can do it the same way every time. Whether you're blindfolded, pitch black, broad daylight, doesn't matter. You never even look at it. You just know where it's at. Know which way your magazine is facing. Dry fire. I think we beat that one up pretty good. 75% of your time should be doing dry fire exercises. 25%. Besides that, it's expensive to go shooting nowadays. You can get the same type of education without having to spend money. Handguns are like musical instruments. Just because you have a violin, does that mean you're a musician? Funny story for you. I got 3 guitars at my house. I don't know how to play the guitar. Nobody in my house knows how to play the guitar.
Would you look good?
But I got 3 guitars in my house. Just because you own an instrument doesn't mean you're a musician. Just because you own a gun does not mean you're a gunfighter. You're never going to rise to the occasion. You are only going to fail to your lowest level of training. And if your lowest level of training is this class, you have this much training. Guess what your lowest level of training is? Get some training. So, when we go out to the range, if you happen to catch some hot brass, please do not do this.
Yeah.
You think your day was bad because you got burned with a little brass? You have no idea how bad your day is going to be if you start flagging everybody in the room who also has a gun. What's the general rule? You point a gun at me,
I point a gun at you.
general rule there. Hold your mud, you're full of adults. It's gonna hurt for a minute. There's nothing wrong with bang, bang.
Yeah.
Put your gun down. If we're standing next to you, hold that. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be bouncing around like you just kicked a beehive, waving your gun around.